Hello, everybody. This is Kamal. I'm co-founder at AccelerateAI. We bring to you another series. This is the part two of how to prepare for yourself as a compelling profile in the data science. It's very important these days because based off our experience, what we have noticed that this is a key tool and we must work on some key principles. If you look at the first part that we have spoken about, we focused on three key points. I want to quickly recap and reiterate on those. First one, we spoke about outcome versus responsibility, how it is important to focus on the outcome part of it in your profile. Second is about your role, what you have done, contributed to your experiences in the past. And third, very important, the community presence, community visibility from that standpoint, right? Now, coming to this part two, we're going to cover the rest three elements. The fourth one is customize. We'll talk about that. Fifth one is the strategy around breadth first and depth later. And then sixth one is about the feedback and guidance process, right? So let's dive in. So the fourth one, when we talk about customization, right? Customizing your profile appropriately is very, very important in today's scenario, specifically in data science and artificial intelligence race. One key aspect that you have to look for is skill sets, keywords, and very specific to some of the work that you have done from programming languages point of view, what tools you have used, because majority of the large enterprises, what we have seen from our experiences, they have been using the AI bots to be able to streamline and filter the initial set of profiles. So you have to make sure your profile goes through that initial filtering criteria as part of the automated AI bots in most of the cases. Additionally, it is also important to highlight some of your keywords in your programming or languages or frameworks, different type of things that you have been familiar with or your expertise on. Another very important aspect from a customization perspective is about the job description. It's actually applies more to the recruiter also, and also those who are applying for specific roles. It is important for us to look into a job description, which should be clear, precise, and we should also adhere to what are there listed or what is the business requirements or needs as part of the job description, right? And if I look at some of the examples that we have seen in the past, many a times we typically filter some of the candidates profile where the CV or the profile matches at least 80% of the job description that we have catered to. So which means that, that's a, initial guideline or kind of a setting criteria, right? So it's very important that we look into what is expected out of the role. You may have some of the things which is written differently, which is captured differently or projected differently, but you have to just align to the needs of the organization or the particular role that you're applying for. It's very important to focus on these two and then customize your profile accordingly. That's the reason, when you're applying for some opportunities in the data science and AI space specifically, make sure you think, act, strategize based on that. If it takes few weeks of your time to prepare for it, be it, but prepare it based on the customization appropriately. So that's number four. Then another aspect is about breadth first and depth later, right? One is in data science, the key aspect you would see is the end-to-end storytelling. We have seen many cases from a life cycle stages of a particular data science program, how important it is to articulate and convey the solutions, the outputs, the outcomes, and the interpretation of it to stakeholders. So end-to-end storytelling somehow has to reflect in our profile, not just in a CV aspect, but how we communicate as part of the articulation effort. And also you have to focus on some of the specialization into machine learning techniques, because what we typically call it as a TCEP skill, right? You have a breadth of the things that you understand, be it, let's say, regression, classification, clustering, some of these techniques within machine learning. And then you have a specialization into one or two that really adds value to it. Because it's not possible humanly for anybody to have a specialization everywhere. However number of years of experience you have, you may be extremely focused and specialized into, let's say, natural language processing or computer vision related techniques, right? From that perspective, it's important to highlight that. And it's also matches up with the TCF scale that we're talking about, breadth first and depth later. Another important aspect in this context when you strategize is also about to showcase your versatility of machine learning techniques. And what we mean by that is how much experience you have across various problem areas or technique areas within machine learning. You may have some exposure in regression, classification, clustering, association, neural networks, collaborative filtering, forecasting, all of these techniques, right? This is just a sample that we have represented here for your interpretation. But the key here is if I have done 5 use cases and all of them in, let's say, using only in regression, then I'm really heavy on regression. I may not be able to represent myself. How is my skill versatility across various techniques? And that's where the value is. If you are learning in multiple areas or 3 4 different areas, and then the use cases are represented or your story are articulated based on that, that's where you'll be able to stand out or differentiate compared to others. Now, last but not the least, feedback and guidance, the most important aspect, as we all know, as part of the continuous learning. Also, the key thing is in data science, it's very important, like any other field. It in fact becomes much more important in data science because you would have an experimental field, you'd have interpretation, articulation related aspects, what to focus on, how to focus on. There are a lot of materials, a lot of things available free in the internet, but how do you prepare yourself? How do you focus what are relevant from your context perspective? And that's where I think you have to identify an industry mentor or a subject matter expert who can support you, who can guide you, who is in the field and can help you guide to a particular growth journey. That is very important. So mentoring, support, and guidance, and we have seen in many cases, I think in my experiences, I would say last 5 to 8 years, the mentoring effort definitely has a significant value, at least 2x 3x of exposure to some who don't have it in the data science and AI field. And then, of course, another aspect is about feedback and continuous monitoring and learning. Sorry, right? So when we say feedback and continuous learning, this is a field where it's very vast. You have to talk to your mentors, talk to your peers, talk to the subject matter experts in the industry, and then see what has been working for you. You quickly focus on certain things and then keep on learning on that, because the learning curve is very fast to grip up, and then we have to be very clear about it and keep on learning about these aspects, right? So overall, when we look at feedback and guidance as a mechanism, right, starting from goals to success, what are we focusing on? That is, these are the things which we get a lot of value when we have a mentor who can guide us, who can support us. And this could be from a guidance perspective, training and coaching aspects, motivation aspects, knowledge, what kind of knowledge sharing that we can have with him or her, what kind of support that we can get from that particular person, and then accordingly we can go through the journey from goals to success achievement. So I think that's compiles of the some of these key aspects. If I quickly go back to our point of 6 points that we have mentioned as the key tips to summarize, if you want to really excel and accelerate in your journey in the data science, it's very important that some of these points you focus on and then drive towards success, because from a differentiation standpoint, all of these 6 gives you a lot of edge. We work towards it. It's not that this is something can be achievable in 1 day, 1 week, or 1 month. It's an ongoing process. However, we must work on it towards on a continuous basis to improvise where we are respectively in our independent area field. Thank you so much.